Sure. So just to give you guys some background on what our whole thing was about, in our mentorship, we learned a couple of things. We learned about how the pharmaceutical industry works, how drugs can get from labs to patients, and mainly how AI can or should be used to solve real world problems. So in our main project was a simulation of oh, first slide. Our main project was to have a simulation of what it's like to be a consulting team for for a drug. So we were tasked with promoting a launch strategy for Onconova, which was a fake company, of course. Onconova's novel NSCLC, or non-small cell lung cancer patients, therapy A. We we plan to do this by using AI to find the top 100 oncologists who are most likely to prescribe our client's therapy. And by utilizing AI in the pre-launch phase, we could optimize Salesforce distribution and position Onconova for fast adoption in the oncology market. So some more details about Onconova's therapy. As you can see, so the annual incidence is how many patients are diagnosed with NSCLC. So to give some background information, our specific drug, therapy A, was designed for patients who have failed prior chemo and have a specific gene, oncodriver X. So because of these specific terms, our incidence, which is the amount of patients who are diagnosed each year, was pretty small, with only 200,000 people. And then to make the group even smaller, our service available market, which was the patients who have failed traditional therapies, was 70,000. And then to minimize even more, the patients who were positive for biomarker X was only 4,000 patients. So in total, there were only 4,000 available patients for NSCLC in the United States. And this could be slightly lower due to patients who don't have access to the specific drug due to other reasons. And so our annual average cost was $175,000 per patient, creating a profit of around 700 million, not including the expenditure. So now I'm passing it on to Adi.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Navia. So to capture this market, we needed to be strategic in our approach, and we defined our target into two groups. We wanted to first see the oncologists and the patients. So first, the patients who we've just discussed, the NSCLC patients who failed prior treatments and are positive for biomarker X. But our primary focus was on the second group, the oncologists, because they're the ones who are going to be accepting our therapy and then treating it to the patients. We wanted to see the oncologists who fit a specific profile, who were located in urban areas where there would be more chance of finding patients in practice in large academic medical centers where they have a higher chance of getting patients and are open to new therapies because we're a relatively new consulting company and we need some oncologists who would trust our therapy. So now that we figured out who the right patients and what kind of doctors we're looking for, the next step was to figure out how to actually find them. We don't just want any doctors, we need the top 100 oncologists who are likely to prescribe this therapy and have access to the right patients. And for that, we decided to use AI, which is probably going to help a lot in the future. Instead of randomly choosing doctors going off gut instinct, we wanted to use a scoring system, which AI would help and that would be helpful because it would reduce any bias and would make correct decisions. The AI would look at three main things: where these doctors are located, because not all areas would have an equal amount of patients, their past prescribing behavior, and if they're accepting new therapies that are, if they're accepting new therapies, and how influential they are in the oncology world, because that could help us promote our therapy more. Big, this isn't something new, but big pharma companies like Pfizer already use AI tools like this to figure out where to send their sales teams because sales teams need to be efficient as they don't have a vast amount of resources. So, okay, our first, um, the first thing is how does the point system actually work? Think of it as a Spotify or any apps recommends, like Spotify recommends music. It looks at your history, what others like you are into, and what's popular, and then based off of that, it gives you a personalized list of songs. We're going to do the same thing just with doctors. Each oncologist gets a score based on different factors. For example, if they're located in an area with a lot of eligible NSCLC patients, that's going to be a lot of points. If they've prescribed other breakthrough therapies before, that's going to add to their total. And if they're known in their field, will add to their total again. At the end, we'll see who the top 100 doctors ranked by points, and we'll most likely choose those 100 doctors. Let's give an example. Let's say Dr. A works in New York City, treats many advanced lung cancer patients, and is a very popular and famous oncologist. They would probably rank pretty high. Um, then what's great about this system is that it's flexible and it can keep updating based on new data. So we can always be as efficient as possible with our sales team and be pretty sure that we're going to get good results. Next, our geographic dispersion. Let's take a closer look at what we would say is one of the most important factors in the POISE system, and that's geographical dispersion. We're asking where are the patients who actually need this drug? Therapy A is for a really specific group of patients, people with NSCLC who've already failed chemo and immunotherapy and who test positive for biomarker X. Even though there are about 230,000 new cases each year in the US, only around 4,000 patients will actually qualify for our treatment. So that means every patient and every doctor will be very important. AI will help us analyze things like patient population data, and which will help us find where the patients actually are and which doctors would be most open to trying this new therapy. And with that, we'll hear from our final speaker, Aditya.
Okay, so our second factor is oncologist past behaviors. So we can collect data on doctors who have prescribed therapy for NSCLC, and we can also collect data on doctors who are open to these new therapies. And we can use AI to basically combine both of these data and predict the top oncologists who are most likely to agree for the new therapy. Next. And our last and final factor is influential leaders. So AI can track oncology papers, journals, and track emerging voices and influential leaders in the NSCLC area. And educating these groups will reduce the future work of the sales force as journals and voices can promote this novel drug. So just to reiterate, ClearPath would use AI to find 100 target oncologists for Onconova's new therapy A by using geographical dispersion of point system and finding influential leaders in the NSCLC disease.
Thank you.
Awesome. Wow, that's wonderful. So it looks like the AI is everywhere and like it's going to be the global market that you guys going to approach like the AI to reach out the doctor and getting the data and maybe combining the two different geographically their behavior and like having the top 100 and like reaching to this disease. And this approach also can be followed for the different diseases too, the same method. Maybe the patients also how the patients and like the doctor's behavior, if you can get the data from the patients too, that would be one of the maybe the helpful strategy too. That's will have like the patient what they think about the doctor. Is the doctor is like for the behavior or approach and medicine wise, because in the market, like some medicines are very costly and some medicines are cheap. Depends on like how they are approachable. Yeah. So anyone have question for them?
Or any comments or I mean, this room is running well ahead of time, so we can,
Yeah.
if anybody wants to share anything, otherwise means we can run early. That's never a problem. So if anybody has anything to share, um,
Yeah.
this is your
What you
time.
guys like during this program? Like what your best thing?
For me, I really liked just getting to act as a consulting team because we used fake data fake data. So that was
Yeah.
fun.
What about you, Navya?
Yeah, I agree with Avi. I think it was really interesting to learn about how the whole process works. And before like learning about how AI is specifically used, we also had to get background information on how the pharmaceutical industry works in general. And I thought that was very fascinating too.
Nice. Wonderful.